The wrong house. Jack had always been a creature of habit. Every evening after work, he walked home, unlocked his front door, and settled into his routine. But tonight felt different. The streetlights flickered as he approached his house, and the air was thick with an eerie silence. He slipped his key into the lock, turned it, and stepped inside. Everything looked normal at first glance. His couch, his TV, his bookshelves filled with novels. He sighed, shaking off the unease. But as he moved further inside, something felt off. The family photos on the wall caught his attention. His heart skipped a beat. The frames were the same, the positioning was the same, but the faces in them were different. The smiling couple in the wedding photo wasn't him and his wife. The child in the picture above the fireplace wasn't his son. Jack stepped back, his breath hitching. What the hell? His mind raced for an explanation. Maybe someone had broken in and replaced the photos as a cruel joke. But that didn't make sense. Everything else was untouched. He pulled out his phone to call his wife, but there was no signal. Frustrated, he walked toward the kitchen to use the landline. As he passed the dining room, he stopped cold. The table was set for 3. Plates filled with steaming food sat untouched, as if the meal had just been served. But the chairs were pulled back, as if the people who were supposed to be sitting there had just stood up. A low, creaking sound echoed from upstairs. Jack turned toward the staircase, his pulse hammering. "Hello?" His voice was barely above a whisper. No response. Something was very wrong. He needed to leave. Now he spun around, heading for the front door, only to find it locked. Not just locked, but bolted from the inside, with a chain that hadn't been there when he walked in. His breathing grew ragged. He hadn't locked it. He hadn't bolted it. Something was in here with him. The creaking sound came again, this time closer. Jack's eyes darted to the top of the stairs. A shadow shifted in the darkness. A figure stood there. Not fully visible, but enough for Jack to make out its long, bony fingers gripping the railing. It tilted its head at an unnatural angle, as if studying him. Jack took a shaky step back. The air around him grew colder. His mind screamed at him to run, but his legs wouldn't move. The figure took a step down, then another. Jack finally snapped out of his frozen state. He turned and sprinted toward the back door. He grabbed the handle, yanking desperately. Locked. He pounded against it, his breath coming in gasps. Behind him, the floorboards groaned under slow, deliberate footsteps. Jack refused to turn around. His survival instincts kicked in. He ran toward the living room, toward the large bay window. If the doors were locked, he'd break the damn glass and jump out. Just as he reached it, the TV flickered on, static filling the room. A distorted voice crackled through the speakers. "Why are you leaving, Jack?" His stomach dropped. His name. It knew his name. He turned toward the stairs. The figure was gone, but the whispers had started. Soft, hushed voices filled the air, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Jack grabbed a lamp from the side table, ready to smash the window, when the reflection in the glass made his blood run cold. The people from the photographs stood behind him. Their faces were twisted into grotesque smiles, their eyes black voids. Their mouths moved, forming silent words. Jack swung the lamp, shattering the window, but before he could climb out, icy hands grabbed his shoulders. Darkness swallowed him whole. Jack awoke to the sound of birds chirping. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. His heart pounded as he sat up, his mind racing. Had it all been a nightmare? But as he looked around, his stomach clenched. The room wasn't his. The furniture was different. The photos on the nightstand showed the same unfamiliar family. Jack bolted out of bed and ran to the mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't his own.